Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today you get to see the large version of me, a little larger than I usually am on the screen, because the song Ascensionism does not actually have a music video associated with it, or visualizer like the previous songs, so I will have that playing up here, but we're going to focus in on just the music alone today, so we'll hop right in. Wow. So we get this very stripped down opening here. Very jarring after the chaos of Vor to get this just beautiful piano.
I know what you want from me. You want someone to be. Your reflection, your bitter deception, setting you free.
I like the octave jump in the keys.
So you take what you want,
Big low
and
chords.
leave.
Wow. So this is probably the most intimate that they've sounded since Missing Limbs, I would say. That's the last song I can think of that kind of brought us down to just vessel and an instrument. Wow. I love the vibe of the start of this song. Reminds me a lot of the sessions they did where the Room Below sessions, that's what I'm trying to think of, where it was just vessel and piano. You can tell he's holding back here. He's very emotive with his singing, but he's really close to the mic. Man, and those lyrics, oh god. We'll get into it, but pulling on the heartstrings.
Who made you like this? Who encrypted your dark gospel in body language? Synapses snap back in blissful language. Tell me you met me in past lives, past light, past what might be eating me from the inside, darling.
The auto-tune there is interesting.
Tell me you guess my future and it mapped onto your fantasy. Tell me into your mannequin and I'll turn you into my puppet create.
What's kind of fun about this transition here is there's a lot more production here, obviously, than the start where it was just piano and the vocals. But when they use the production, it's really interesting because he says the word glitches and there's like some vocal glitching that happens. I think the auto-tune is a deliberate choice thematically, which I will kind of get to. But we get this like a cappella thing in the backgrounds with just some bass, and it sounds like we're gonna get our trap beat started here, right? To finish the transition. Cool effect there too on the vocals.
Lipstick, chemtrails, red flags, pink nails with one eye on the door, other eye on the rail.
The pianos come back in the background, by the way, though.
Scarlet trail and the last few drops from the holy grail. Now rose gold chain. gas, blood stains at the canopies. Just don't ask me the first to the feast. Let's choke on the past and take to the broken skies alive.
And so it was really, really faint in the background. So I'm obviously vibing with his delivery here. This is a very vocally driven part of the song for sure. But in the background, there's cool things going on with the instrumentation too. Obviously, the trap beat comes in. We get the piano returns. I think it's more synthy sounding and more synthetic sounding than it was at the start, but we get that kind of like motif that comes back in the piano with the big chords underneath. So it's kind of like it's the same song again, but obviously we're in a different style. We're in this kind of, I don't know if you want to call it like R&B or trap or something like that, right? It's very interesting how they incorporate that. And here it is. Yep, again. These very disorienting vocals in the background, kind of fading in and out. A lot of production to make it difficult to hear.
Diamonds in the trees, pentagrams in the night sky.
Really incredible stuff there to bring everything in, all these instruments. Real drums come in, the guitars come in. We get something that's a little bit more syncopated than the song has been up to this point. Rhythmically, it's been pretty straightforward to the listener so far, so it's kind of interesting to get these big hits, right, that are offbeat from what we might expect. Man, really cool. And there's still kind of that motif going on in the background, kind of sort of that the keys have been playing for a while now. It's kind of hard to hear, but I think it is still kind of following that same thing. Oh my god. It's so chunky, just that guitar sound. Oh my god. And right back to it.
What you want from me? You want the same as me.
I love the symmetry in the lyrics here from the start of the song.
My redemption, eternal ascension, setting me free.
Oh my god. Like, the thing I love about Vessel is I think he like leaves some of these takes of his vocals in where he like is so close to choking up and losing it. And you can hear it when he says free here. There's like that vocal like hiccup, right? Like a sob. It just gets me. it's more than just singing for him. This is like the story that he's trying to tell. He's performing. He's not just hitting notes. It's it's rough.
Me free.
Right there. Oh.
So I'll take what I want, then leave.
Oh, so just so heavy for a song that started with just piano, for it to end in that crazy, just oh my gosh, that it's just it's such an intense ending. Man, there's a part of this song that always gets me. I want to go to it. So on the second go round of the piano part, where he changes the lyrics up, man, there's a scream right before we get to the "You Make Me Wish I Could Disappear" part, and it is just like yes, somewhere in here. Like it doesn't sound like he cares anything in that moment about technique or about trying to sound good for the record. It just sounds like pain. It just sounds like straight up pain. It's haunting, kind of that moment there. Gosh, this song kind of continues the genre blending, right? Um, that this album is kind of blowing up for, I would say. We get this really intimate piano stuff. We get the trap beats, and then we get what we would expect from like a metal band, right? We get the heavy guitars and stuff like that, but it's all very purposeful. There's a reason that it's all there. It's not just random. And if we look at the lyrics, I think I can kind of make the case for that. All right, so let me shrink myself here so you guys can see, because there's a lot of lyrics to this one, because of the kind of the R&B section, the part where he's just kind of flowing. But we get something here in the first verse with all of these, with all these piano parts, right? That's where I think the emotional weight lies. He says, "I know what you want from me. You want someone to be. Your reflection, your bitter deception, setting you free. So you take what you want and leave." And to break this down, I interpret this as Vessel is talking to Sleep here. And he recognizes that she wants to exist. She wants to be again. And the only way that she can do that, since she has passed on, is to live through Vessel. To have Vessel be her reflection. To kind of deceive herself and Vessel that she's still here. Wants to be set free and live again. But obviously, with the main metaphor of like night and day, right? This only can happen at night. So once the sun rises, she's gone, and it leaves Vessel empty again. But I think that's the main thing that's going on with this first verse. And we once again do the genre change at this point. This is where the R&B trap beats start, and there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of back and forth between holy imagery and like distortions or evil, like just the if you think dark gospel, right? So gospel is usually like associated with good news, like in the Christian perspective, but dark kind of gives it a new feeling. We've got synapses snap back in blissful anguish. Once again, pairing these two things. Um, Half of a rhythm, half deity. So once again, only half of what Vessel kind of normally thinks of sleep as a deity. And then this is super interesting. We've got glitches in the code or gaps in a strange dream, which I know that we've talked about in previous songs. What's going on with all of this talk of like computers and stuff like that? And my feeling is the metaphor here is that sleep is artificial in some way. And let's be real here. I've said that there are multiple characters, but like in Vessel and Sleep. However, I think that Sleep is really just a manifestation that Vessel has created. It's some part of himself that it just takes all his guilt and all of his like anguish and sorrow and puts it onto this deified thing that his brain has created. And I think that's kind of where the idea of the computer comes from. He's created this program that he uses to cope with the death of his loved one. And unfortunately, as he starts to change, so does she. He maps his own feelings onto her. And you can kind of see some of this, like, tell me you guessed my future, and it mapped onto your fantasy. Turn me into your mannequin, and I'll turn you into my puppet queen. He wants to kind of be under her control to some degree. He's letting himself kind of create her and be drawn in by her, is kind of my feeling here. But here, there's this unmasking idea, right? Show me what you are. I'm desperate to know. Nobody better than the perfect enemy. Digital demons make the night feel heavenly. Once again, demons and heavenly in the same sentence. Digital demons, even. Which I think, once again, I think he knows that none of this is real, or he's starting to realize that he's created this thing, this enemy for himself that he needs to escape from. Which is even more apparent when he says, make it real, because anything is better than the way I feel right now. I can offer you a blacklit paradise, diamonds in the trees, pentagrams in the night sky. Once again, duality right there. Diamonds, usually this beautiful idea, and then pentagrams, synonymous with demons, evil, that kind of thing. In the night sky, even more damning that he has kind of changed how he's feeling about sleep, because the night, if you recall from previous songs, is usually used as this like heavenly idea. The night is his god to some degree. And then we just keep going. Lipstick, chemtrails, red flags, pink nails. Mixing our signals again. Red flags are usually bad, but lipstick and pink nails, you know, that we're thinking like feminine at this point, right? One eye on the door, other eye on a rail. Other eye. Okay. Following a scarlet trail, and the last few drops from the Holy Grail. Which to me symbolizes that his deception of himself about what's going on here is running out. And then I'm skipping some of this just because it's mostly just kind of going off vibes here of what's going on. I don't think a lot of it we need to dig into too hard, but be the first to the feast, let's choke on the past, and take to the broken skies at last. This lyric here really reminds me of, if you think back to Bloodsport, he talks about the skies cracking. He wants the heavens to open up for him, and maybe that's kind of what he's hoping would happen here. Then we get the diamonds in the trees, pentagrams in the night sky, which is a very cool image to me. I like thinking about like what in my mind's eye what that kind of looks like to him, right? You know, the kind of a really dark scenery, ominous signs in the sky. Um, it's the same kind of imagery I got from Dark Signs on Sundowning. Um, just very ominous what's going on here. And I'm looking at this and I'm wondering, where did these lyrics come from? Because some of it I thought was not quite what I expected. I thought this was you're gonna watch me ascend, not you cannot watch me ascend. Let me sorry, let me go on a little dive here. Yeah, because here it says you're gonna watch me ascend, but I've seen other places say you cannot watch me ascend like that. I think this is correct. I think you're gonna watch me ascend is correct from the vibe I'm getting from the song. Which, of course, this I believe is Vessel talking to Sleep, saying, I'm going to move on, and you're just going to have to watch me do it. Which is why it's such a powerful moment, right? This is he screams this, and it kind of fades in the background. And then finally, verse 4, I think kind of the climax of this song, emotionally and musically, we get, I know what you want from me. You want the same as me. My redemption, eternal ascension, setting me free. So I'll take what I want, then leave. And this is followed up by that just harrowing scream that I talked about, because this reframes what's going on in Vessel's mind. This tells us that he recognizes that what Sleep, or his ex-lover, right, would want from him is for him to move past her. And he knows that's what she'd want. So he needs to take all the good that he can from their relationship, but leave her behind. And I think this is what causes that just heartbreaking scream there. And the realization that even though he has chosen this at this point, it seems like he's kind of landed on this choice to leave her behind. It's not easy. He wishes he could just disappear and not deal with it. Or maybe the hardest decision of his life, right? And that's why we get this "You Make Me Wish I Could Disappear" to end the song on, and why it's so intense, because while it feels like catharsis, it's still anguish, it's still sorrow, it's still saying goodbye to someone that you want to hold on to, right? Even if you've recontextualized it a little bit and realized that it's not good for you, you've mapped bad things onto this person who is gone, you still need to move on, but it's still going to be hard. And I think the album artwork kind of shows the many faces that he has mapped onto Sleep. This is what looks to be a female figure. And I think what we're getting here is all kinds of imagery of the past, right? We've got violence with this gun here. There's a trident over here which harkens back to "This place will become your tomb" whenever he was drowning in his obsession with Sleep. I don't really know what this is supposed to be over here. I think these are wires, which would make sense if we're going with the idea that she's artificial, she's not real. He realizes this. And of course, we get over here a holy censer that might be burning like incense or something like that, which, if we know anything about kind of how Sleep Token started in like Sundowning, holy was definitely something he associated with Sleep. So I think this shows all the different forms of Sleep now collapsing into one, and he realizes that he's been mapping his own feelings and his own trials and tribulations onto her, and he needs to get away. Which is why this song kind of feels like this catharsis, this moment of realization. So I'm curious if you guys have the same take on Ascensionism. This is definitely what I would call like one of the most epic tracks they've ever released. It's very long for a Sleep Token song, but it handles its runtime very well in getting across these ideas. So feel free to comment. Let me know what you think. we will move on to the next song. I think it's "Are You Really Okay" is the next one, in the next video, and I will see you then.